My guest today is Nicola Turschwell, and her business is...
The Original Self, The Art of You.
And I love that because Nikki and I have discovered that Original Self is a book written by Thomas More and was a catalyst that changed both of our lives. Just amazing.
Yeah.
And now I realise that I have not been practising art in the way that I should be. Nikki, how can people find you?
Original Self, The Art of You. I've got a website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I think we all need to bring more creativity into our lives. Stay right to the end. I'm Robin Cook. This is Stories from the Red Couch. I know you'll love it. Original Self. That was a life-changing book for me.
Me too.
Is that where you got the name?
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Thomas
borrowed that
More
one.
is that, I mean, he's an incredible author, and when I first read it, it was life-changing, it was astounding, and I had no idea about any of that. Tell me what it was about the book that really captured you.
It was the depression part and the darker side of life, and I went, yes, I feel understood. I discovered this person that had written about how I felt.
Yeah. When did you first come across?
Oh, it would have been in my late 20s. Yeah.
Similar age to me. It was life-changing. So where did it lead you? Because now you are doing therapy, aren't you?
Yes. Well, it led me to the therapy field, really. When my kids started school, I thought, what am I going to do for a career choice? I knew I loved that really examined life and got really digging deep into myself and relationships and what people were really like and what they were really hiding. And so therapy was it. And I just kept landing on my feet in programs I joined up to and did a counselling course for 1 year and then ended up with a job in the statewide domestic violence service. And
Okay.
yeah, so I just had a lot of luck, really. Yeah.
So what areas have you particularly been drawn to? Because therapy is so vast, isn't it? There's so many ways that you can work as a therapist. Where have you been drawn?
It's always chosen me, actually, and it's always chosen what's needed healing in me. So
Because we're wounded healers, aren't we?
yes, we are. So I always think, why am I in this job? And my most recent one was drug and alcohol in the Kimberley, and I thought, oh, hang on. And then I thought, oh yes, I can feel my sort of persistent, addictive behaviours, and it was really good to reflect on those. And we always have to heal that part in ourselves, I feel, to take our clients to the same depth.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
it's really good to have reflective practice.
What sort of tools do you use?
Well, a lot of art therapy. I've got a few things to show you, but lots of reflective journaling and just full expression in colour and shape and size and without judgment of it, just knowing that what I'm feeling in here has got to come out. And,
yeah. So it is a difficult thing to do, though, for someone who is maybe a little bit bound up to feel okay about that full expression. How do you get people to do that?
I think, well, mostly I'll take the responsibility off the person to start saying, let the colours choose you, and let your follow your hands and let your arms lead, and so that they're not thinking they have to produce something. And sometimes it's even just closing the eyes so that they're not looking at the outcome. It's not about art.
Well, it's not
about
about
getting
art,
the
is it?
expression out.
That's right. And that whole movement is part of that.
Absolutely.
Therapy. It's how you're feeling it in your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some people that start with a sort of small, contained movement, I'll really invite them to go bigger and bigger and get the movement to be as large as they can possibly, be comfortable with at that moment.
Yeah. What about analysing that type of thing? No.
We don't realise.
I'm so pleased you said that, because that's when I've done those sorts of retreats where we have done journaling or drawing or gestalting or sand play. What I really loved about it was that nobody sat there and then said, "Oh, well, Robin, of course, this means this."
No, it's up to the client to really just find their own way with it, and I facilitate that. It's a little bit like being a curator to say, well, does this relate to a story that you know, or what are you feeling now? Is that familiar? And so allowing the client to, I will certainly ask some questions and that's an art in itself to get them to really be thinking about where this might have come from, where it might be going, or what they need to do with it now.
And sometimes it doesn't, you're not even aware of or able to articulate it.
No.
And sometimes it's not until months later or years even.
Yeah, you're right.
That the release can come.
Yeah. And it might be something that needs to remain held and contained. And, and we work in metaphor. I might say, what's a title for this piece you've just done? And it might be a metaphor that they don't really have a meaning for at that point, but later on.
What about gestalting? Because you do that too, don't you?
I do.
Tell me about that.
I think it's I was drawn to a therapy that was mind, body and spirit. I really wanted the wholeness of it, and something that would allow my spirituality to blossom as well. And so that work is just delightful to me. It's about tracking where the client is going, and then also what's happening between us. Like us both discovering that, original self was, and Thomas More's writing was influential for us. So that's part of what I would say is in the field of in Gestalt. So it's a connector.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you're using that method, because I've done it and I love it. It was life-changing for me. And I recall the first time was and you said before that you bring the nickiness to the work that you do. So before I launch into my experience of it, tell me, is there really clear pathways? This is this kind of therapy and this is this kind of therapy, and you can only work within those parameters? Is it like that?
No, I don't think so. I think most therapists would say no to that. Okay. We have to bring ourselves to the work, or there's our intuition, there's our gut feelings that we need to work on too, to bring in. It is my nickiness that I bring, and even that sort of hesitation just there, and it's like, well, that's part of who I am.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Stuck for words or...
Yeah. Are you constantly doing the work yourself, for yourself as well?
I think that's a chosen path for me anyway. I just love that reflective life and the examined life. Sometimes I curse it, I must say. Can't it just be easy? But yes, I'm always art journaling and listening to podcasts and watching summits from places like Sounds True. And
You've joined the Refinery incubator on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's very exciting, and also pushing me to another level where it's good to be pushed. And in Gestalt we say there's one breath between anxiety and excitement. I think I'm right there on that breath all the time at the moment.
That's a wonderful place to be,
yes,
isn't it?
It is.
I mean, I think I live my life in that breath too.
Yeah, certainly in an aliveness. And I'm bringing my work, to an edge where I haven't taken it before. So it's very exciting.
And what was that process leading up to being accepted? Because you had to pitch, and what was the process?
Well, it was fairly organic for me, again intuitive, where I feel like I went along to a Pachucacha night, and at the very end they said, and there's this Refinery thing we're doing, and I went, oh, I think I was, I came tonight because of that, and threw in my application and actually forgot what I'd written for it. And then got accepted into the boot camp, and that was so exciting, and then the nerves started.
Yeah.
And so then, pitched our ideas. But you know what? I'm passionate about kindness in the workplace and compassion and optimal teams. And I've worked with teams and in teams, and it's my passion. So the knowledge part's easy. The stretch is, where I'm taking it.
Yeah. So I think you're looking to take it into a corporate, not you being corporate, but taking your work into corporate environments.
Yeah.
How does that work in that kind of situation? Because in a corporate, people are guarded and they want to present themselves as the best and so forth.
Yeah.
So when you're working in a space where people are vulnerable, how does that come across in a corporate sense?
Well, it's going to be focused around wellness, so really strength-based. And yes, vulnerability is important. I think Brené Brown's doing amazing work in the corporate sector around vulnerability. In fact, she refuses to work with people that won't go there. So, I think it's about stepping in and stepping up, and people do want healthy workforces. And the mental health crisis really in Australia is very poor, and so I'm wanting to do something about it. I really want people to be happier and healthier in their workplaces.
Yeah. Do you think there's been a shift then in management, like business management, in allowing their workforce to be vulnerable and for people not to feel frightened that if they show some weakness or perceived weakness that they'll be just shunted off and someone else brought in? Do you think there's been a shift in? I
think there's been a shift, and I'm in an area where, I work in wellness and mental health, so perhaps I'm seeing it because I'm immersed in that world.
Yes.
And I'm optimistic too that people are wanting a deeper relationship with life, with their work, with their passions, and so...
I imagine that would make the difference between someone working in a situation where they see it as drudgery or unfulfilling, and if they're able to bring out those connections for themselves, to then take more delight
absolutely
in their work.
Yeah. There's another brilliant book that's just reasonably recent, Lost Connections. Johann Hari talks about a study, a Gallup poll, where 87% of people are supposed to be disengaged in their jobs. That's a terrifying statistic.
That's shocking, isn't it?
So that's motivating enough, isn't it?
Well, it should be, and I think that when you look at people and there's a little bit of work envy that goes on, and I wish I could do that, or I wish I could do that. But often it is just because the person takes delight
absolutely
in the work that they're doing because they're fulfilled in their own self in a way, isn't it?
And the people around them, like that, the contagious joy.
Yes, and the team element of it being together.
Yes, the connectedness and just, as you say, delight. That's a great word.
Yes.
But there should be joy and fun in the workplace too.
I agree. So how long is the Refinery process going to go on?
It's a 10-week program, and they're very supportive of offering ongoing support to us too. So it's a brilliant opportunity.
Yeah.
Extremely grateful, full of gratitude to be in that program.
And where do you see yourself at the end of that for your business?
Oh, kicking goals.
That's what we want.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's week 3, and I've got amazing planning done and really working hard on it.
That's fabulous.
As well as resting, sitting back and not being too. I've got to practice what I preach, I'm finding too, to really focus on my meditation and my exercise and moments of stillness and doing my art therapy.
It's not easy, is it? When you've got that level of excitement, you just want to gallop into it.
Yes.
So what would a daily routine look like for you?
I start with meditation when I'm, doing well. Some days I'll miss it. And even today I did do something called guided drawing, which is just sitting at my table with big sheets of paper and just checking in with my body sensations and putting it out onto paper. That's with two hands, eyes closed, and just seeing what's there for me and keeping rolling with it until I feel finished. So it's really listening to my body. Our body's a very important part of who we are.
Well, they are. Some people might think of it as indulgent in a sense or dismissive, but it isn't, is it? It's incredibly
curious,
important to be expressive like that.
Yes, creativity's got a similar definition to resilience, which is response flexibility.
Okay.
So without creativity, like really everything we do is creative. The way we cook, the way we move, the way it's underrated and it's seen as often artistic outcomes and endeavours, but creativity is everywhere in the way we live. So it's essential for really thinking outside the box and responding flexibly, to not get a fixed idea about how something should be. It's, yeah.
What would be the last thing you do in the day before you go to bed?
Put the phone out of the room and take some deep breaths and just I like the gratitude stuff too. It's again powerful work, knowing what we repeat to ourselves gives us again resilience and well-being. So yeah, I do practice what I preach. It's really important for me to be aligned with that, actually.
Yeah, and it's not about just looking at the happy and the rainbows and
definitely not. No,
you're really bringing that shadow side.
Yes, I had a tearful meltdown this morning speaking to one of those government bodies that was changing my address because I've just relocated. So I'm crying, saying I can't log on, and this poor guy on the other end's like probably needed to be a therapist to deal with me. So that's when I did my art therapy. So yeah, it's. I'm a therapist and I have my struggles, and that's who I am. And it's important, it's really human.
Well, and then it brings empathy to your work when you're working with others, because you're not perfect. None of us.
Goodness, no. Not the P word.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Where can people find out more of your work, Nikki?
I've got website, originalselftheartofyou.com.au, and Facebook and Instagram, which I have a bit of a stop-go relationship with, but still I'm present there, and LinkedIn. Yeah,
fantastic.
My phone number's readily available, really.
Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.
I'm going to get my crayons out and paper because I realised that I haven't done that for such a long time, and I think it's probably time to do it again.
It's playful and fun.
Yeah, be playful.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Building day with the team. He's coming off the beach.